Hello, everybody, and welcome to Music Industry Insights Worldwide. And today I have the amazing Jonna with us. Hi, how are you?
I'm great. I'm great. I'm having, a bit of a stressful day, but things are
Oh,
going great.
tell me about it. I've had an awful month. To be honest, from the beginning to now, I picked up this bug and it's just got worse and worse, but I'm getting much better now. So, yeah, I totally understand. But you're here now, so thank you for coming along.
Thank you for having me. I'm so excited about this.
It's an absolute pleasure. So, do you want to tell the listeners a little bit about yourself, where you're from, and what you do?
Yeah, so my name is Jonna Eve Eriksson, and I'm from Sweden. So um, well, we're not in the European Union, all of us, so we're not in the same place anymore.
Yeah,
But I'm from Malmö, which is
yeah,
as south as you get in Sweden. It's a very nice town with a lot of culture, a lot of music.
yes.
And I run a showcase festival called
Okay.
Scania Sounds,
Yeah.
which is focused on artists from the region of Scania, which is the
Okay.
most southern region in Sweden.
Okay.
And I also work with marketing, social media management for artists,
Fantastic.
and I do marketing for a venue here in Scania as well.
Yes, and we met on the Key Change program, didn't we? So that's how we connected.
Exactly. That's where I'm so thankful that I got to meet you because you
Oh,
have been
thank
a very
you.
big inspiration for me.
Oh, thank you so much. That's so kind. And same here. You've been such an inspiration. And it's so nice to meet people from different parts of the world. We all come from different places. We all have different views and opinions. But when we all come together, we learn so much. We enrich each other's lives and we can better support each other, you know? And that was the lovely thing about that. So,
Absolutely.
how long have you actively been doing music and entertainment for?
I have actively been in the industry since actually spring 2020.
Right.
So I actually got started in this industry because of COVID.
Okay.
Uh, it is a very weird story, but before that, I was planning to become a librarian.
Okay.
And when COVID hit, I started a project which was called Culture Stream Malmö, which became a live stream program that
Fantastic.
that collected culture and music from around Malmö and Scania.
Is that
Uh,
still open now?
Sorry?
Is that still open now? Can people still check
No, it was a COVID thing.
it?
Because we started it and we were actually among the first to do live stream here in Sweden. We had our
Wow,
first live stream on March 21st, 2020.
it's
So we
really
were very
interesting.
early with that.
Yeah.
Um, and but we found that, the spring of 2020, people really wanted live streams because they wanted culture. You were stuck at home, you needed something. But when summer came, it kind of died down a bit,
Okay, fair enough.
and people weren't as interested anymore.
Yeah.
And so we said, like, okay, but then let's try and see what else we can do with this project. So we started doing workshops instead, like
Good.
we called it like micro residencies,
Okay.
where we put together artists from different forms and genres
Oh,
that
that's
had never worked together before.
yeah.
Uh, and just during one day, they got to get together and create something and film something
Oh, wow.
just from scratch.
Brilliant. That's really nice. So there's that collaboration as well as the education, which is really, really good.
Yeah, and it's also because the one thing that we found was really interesting and like became the core of Culture Stream
Yeah.
was that because we brought in, during the live streams, we brought in different kinds of artists and different kinds of genres.
Yeah.
We also, it also became a platform for their different target groups to meet
Right. Interesting.
and discover new things. Like we had a live stream where we had this like riot girl punk
I love
band
yeah,
called Are Are
yeah.
on, and we also had this like classical harp player.
Oh, that's
To see
beautiful.
like in the comments the different, the harp players, fans who were mainly older,
Yeah.
they were like, oh, this band is so cool.
I love that. So it's very kind of like experimental and lots of different genres, very eclectic.
Exactly, so that's what we wanted to do with the workshops as well, is to bring together, different kinds of expressions,
Yeah,
to see if we could also like create some sort of bubble for, or place where different target groups can meet and
incredible.
discover new things.
Yeah, and you're also passionate about gender equality. So do you also do that through your panels and talks and conferences?
Very much. I don't do many panels and conferences
Yeah,
right now.
yeah.
Sorry, I just got a hiccup.
And then maybe
Um,
add on to it.
but I am very passionate about bringing it into my work.
Okay. Yeah.
Um, so when I work, especially when I work as a freelancer,
Hmm.
I mainly take on projects that I think have some sort of um, um, some possibilities to do some impact.
Fantastic. Yeah.
And I also try to, do impact from within.
Yes.
So, for example, I work in film sometimes. I try to create teams that are equal,
Yeah.
which is
Represented,
very unusual both in music and in film.
as we know.
Uh,
Yeah.
yeah, and also try to open up, for all genders, and also try to always think of representation
And races
as
as
well.
well, and all
Yeah,
sorts of different things, even class, because class is
absolutely.
talked about. Yeah, that's really interesting. And have you always had a passion for music? Is that been from a young age?
It has.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, I can't play an instrument. I can
Yeah.
do like Twinkle Twinkle Little Star on a piano.
Okay.
That's as far as it goes.
Yeah.
But I've always been listening to music, going to concerts, and I have a brother who is 7 years older than me.
Yeah.
Who was also very music interested, who actually does play some things, and
Okay. Cool.
also work in the music industry today.
Yeah.
Uh, but he was kind of my like gateway
Oh,
into music.
nice. Okay.
He was always, this was around the time when you had like MSN Messenger,
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I remember
if you
those days.
remember. Not everyone remembers that.
WhatsApp? Yeah, we didn't have WhatsApp then. Yeah.
Yeah, but so he would like send me files of songs that he thought I should listen to, is like Postal Service, Rilo
Mhm.
Kiley,
That's nice.
uh, Daft Punk.
Yeah, I love that.
Yeah, and so
Nice
so he
music.
really like was the one who opened my eyes to what music could be, and then I've just kept on exploring.
Oh, that's lovely.
Um,
So what kind of challenges and barriers have you faced accessing and working in the music industry and film as well?
oh, many.
Talk about some.
uh, I mean, first of all, being a woman is a
Yeah,
challenge in
yeah,
itself.
yeah,
And or not being a man, I should,
yes, yeah,
more to be more exact.
yeah,
Um, because you face a lot of, um, I mean, you face a lot of, like, in Sweden we have, we have a saying which goes about racism, which we say
yeah,
vardagsrasism. It's
yeah,
like everyday racism,
yeah.
which is kind of, a saying that means, sort of like things you say and do that are like
They're
on.
misogynistic as well, aren't they? Like for women, against
Yeah,
women.
exactly, so it's like everyday sexism,
Yeah,
is what I was going to come to, and it's like, and what it means is that, these kinds of behaviors that you maybe don't think about that you do, or that you say,
yeah,
you might be a very, according to yourself, a woke person,
yeah,
but you might still have some things that are uh, that are, you maybe grew up in a place where they talk like this or did this, it's
Yeah,
hard. You need to always unlearn things.
yeah.
But so I've met a lot of like that kind of thing
I'm sorry.
um, where, maybe as a woman you get taken as people like, oh, you take things too personally, or you are, you get too personally invested, or you are too emotional about things, or,
That's so
these
unfair.
kinds of like stereotypes
No.
um, that are just really hurtful, because I think everyone is, if you're doing something that you're passionate about,
Yeah.
you are personally invested,
Of
and
course
you
you are.
should be personally invested as well.
Yeah, yeah. Also, some
And
of us suffer from mental health and other issues as well, right? So that can also impact
exactly.
that too, right?
Yeah, but that's actually for me. I was diagnosed with depression when I was 20.
Yeah.
I am
Been
right
there.
now in an ADHD evaluation
Right.
because, surprise, surprise, women with depression often tend to discover much later in life that they have ADHD, but
Right.
no one really knew because you only do research on men.
Yeah.
Uh,
That's what I
uh,
mean.
and so I've also, throughout my life, even before I started working in this industry, I've had to learn things about myself and
Yeah.
about how I work that maybe other people don't really have to.
Right.
And I, I've had to learn to distance myself from things.
Yeah.
So even if I'm personally invested in something, I know
Yeah.
how to distance
Yeah.
myself,
Get
but
your
it's still also, when you work with people and you have these kinds of mental health issues, and someone comes and talks about, you know, how, if you're emotional or if you're this or
Yeah.
if you're that, then it's kind of like, but what's that to you?
Yeah.
And it's kind of hurtful, because I think we all also need to acknowledge the fact that everybody functions in different ways.
Individualistic, exactly. It's not one size fits all at all, is it?
Exactly, and I think that even people who are neurotypical
Yeah,
function differently from
of
each other.
course. That's a human
Like,
fact, right? Yeah.
exactly, and I think we need to acknowledge that fact,
Mm.
and we need to be more aware of how we speak to each
Yeah.
other, because that's the thing I think in this industry, and in life really,
Language. Yeah.
is that we need to always like go back and think like, what did I just say?
Yeah.
Start to be more aware of what we say, how we
Yeah.
speak to each other,
Yeah.
and those, as I said, those little like everyday things that you
Yeah.
don't really think about,
Yeah.
uh, because it's just programmed somewhere inside you. You
Yeah.
need to like, sometimes take a step back and say like, do I need to deprogram myself?
Yeah. Yeah. Deconstruct sometimes, which I think is a really important part of it. Actually, is
Absolutely.
yeah, we all have
I
to do that.
if I looked at myself like 10, 15 years ago,
Yeah.
the person I am today, there's a lot of things that I had to unlearn
Of
to
course.
become the person I am
Even
today.
me. Yeah, that's been part of my journey. It's starting all over again, starting from scratch,
Hmm.
and literally everything I do sometimes is still a learning process. And sometimes it can be extremely stressful. And then also like the lack of representation and stuff like that. How's that been for you? Like with representation, I know you talked about your brother getting you into the industry, but who have been your role models, female role
But
models that you could look up to be?
yeah, I just want to be clear. Actually, my brother has actually nothing to do with me getting into the industry,
Oh no, but
just
kind of,
getting into music.
yeah,
My journey into the industry is very separate from his work, and I tend to, that's a thing that I am very um strict about, is like not using him
yeah, yeah,
as a gateway to things
yeah, yeah,
in
yeah.
my work. Like, my work is my work,
Fair
because
enough. Yeah,
yeah, no, just one, to be clear
yeah, that's
uh,
okay.
about
No,
this,
yeah, that's
because I also very anti-nepotism, but
Yes. Same.
yeah. So regarding representation,
Yeah.
I feel, we need more representation on stages, but especially more representation in organizations.
Yeah.
Because if we don't have representation in organizations, it's never gonna be reflected in
Mm.
what we see.
Right.
Uh, we need to have different voices
Yeah.
speaking. We need to let different voices come out, and that's I think for me, with the festival that I'm working on, for
Yeah.
example, one of the fun things and that we have gotten a lot of attention on is the fact that we are actually 2 women running this
Oh,
festival,
love
and
that.
one of them, obviously not me, is a Black woman.
Fantastic.
Uh, so we
That's
do
good.
have, we are 2 women. We have representation. We also try to have representation with the people we work with,
Yeah.
and it's really fun because we did our first festival in November,
Okay.
which was really fun, and we had how many artists do we have? Like 15, 16 artists or something like that.
Okay.
Uh, and I met someone from another showcase festival in Sweden, and the first thing he said to me is like, "It's so cool the amount of representation that you had."
Yeah, that's lovely.
And it's like, of course we actively work for that, but we
Yeah.
also, it's so nice when people acknowledge it and actually
Yeah.
sees that. And the thing is, we can honestly say that we had super good quality, all
Good.
the artists.
Yeah.
People from the industry were so amazed by the high quality of the artists.
Fantastic.
And there you see, like, it doesn't matter, the quality will be good,
Yeah.
even if it's not only white men on stage.
Fantastic. Yeah. I like to hear that. You know what I mean? Because we need to see it sometimes to believe it, don't we? And I think that's part of it too. When people start seeing more of that and they start
Yeah,
believing it inspires other people to do that. So well done.
I mean, absolutely, because I think that to implement that more and more, we need to make it to the point where we don't even talk about it
Yeah.
anymore. It's just
Exactly.
something like this is the image that we are used to seeing.
Yeah.
We are used to
Yeah.
seeing all these different faces. We are used to seeing all these different bodies.
Yeah.
Uh, you know,
Yeah. I hope, yeah, we'll get there. We'll get there. Small steps are being made. I just hope it'd be a lot quicker, to be honest.
yeah, I would have hoped that would have been there already for like 10 years ago, but you know,
And what would you like to see improve in the next couple of years around equality, diversity, inclusion? What are the main 2 things that you'd like to see?
uh, this is a fun thing because I've discussed this a lot with Key Change and with
Yeah,
the evaluators of Key Change.
yeah,
Because I think that we need to switch the conversation,
okay,
uh, because there are a lot of safe spaces for non-men
yeah,
to sit and discuss, but you know eventually that just becomes, the people who are already invited to the conversation or already know the conversation,
yeah,
just
yeah,
discussing, and
yeah,
who are already on the same side of it
yeah,
discussing. We need to start looking at the
the bigger
people who need to
picture.
become allies,
Yes,
and then I mean both, of course, men,
yeah,
but I also mean allies in form of representation. I mean white people.
yeah,
Um,
yeah,
and for those you cannot see, I am a white woman. Um, but I think that, all also cis people
yeah,
need to become allies of trans people,
yeah.
non-binary people.
Thank you.
Uh,
Yeah,
we need to start asking all the people who should become allies, like, what can you do? What are
yeah,
you doing? What
yeah,
should you do?
yeah,
And start to point, and like also being inviting them more into the conversation.
That's lovely. I like that. Yeah, because it's for everyone. And I think we need people around the table that are decision makers, that are men, but we need to build
Yeah,
allies with other groups because we can't do it by ourselves. It's impossible.
I think allyship is the key.
Yeah, 100%.
Because at this moment, it is the groups that are in minority that are doing all the work
Yeah,
themselves.
yeah,
Women are doing all the work for them. Trans people are doing all the work for
exactly.
them.
Yeah,
Uh,
we're not
you know,
crossing that and we're not, it's sharing.
POCs are doing all the work for them.
Yeah,
Of course, there are big allyships everywhere. I'm
yeah.
not saying that
Well,
doesn't
we've got
exist.
ours.
It does. But we need to expand that.
Yes, 100%. I
And we
love that.
need to put more pressure on people to become allies.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Do you think cultural and age differences have an impact on that allyship?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah,
100%. Uh, I think especially age differences.
yeah. Same.
Because and here's the thing, because I know a lot of people from older generations who are very aware of things,
Yeah, yeah,
but still the same thing as told you earlier,
yeah.
might still use these everyday kind of language
That we wouldn't
that
class as acceptable.
we've already said, like, we
Yeah,
have moved forward from this.
yeah,
We're doing, but not using it in a sort of in a hurtful way, but more in a, I'm not really aware that I'm supposed to have moved forward
yeah, yeah, yeah,
with
yeah.
this.
In a little bubble kind of thing. Yeah,
Yeah,
stuck in a
and I think it's important that we keep that education up.
yes, 100%.
And but it's important that we also, as I said, we also get the allies to educate,
Yeah, yeah,
because because you know we can. And now when I speak of we, I speak of myself as a cis woman, of course, and person with mental health issues,
yeah.
also physical health issues. That's where I like put myself in
Thanks
that
for
kind of
sharing that.
box. But there are different boxes and different
Yeah,
places. But
intersections.
we in the big should not have to carry that burden ourselves.
No, exactly. And that's it. How has that affected you personally, like with your mental health and your other challenges in an industry that's very competitive and fast-paced and sometimes can use this kind of language? How has that affected you personally?
I mean, I'm a I'm a kind of like water of a duck's back kind
Yeah,
of
yeah,
person.
resilient. Yeah, I can
So
tell.
I usually like don't
Take
um
me.
yeah, I hear it, and then I kind of like, if I feel that it's really offensive,
Yeah,
I will say like, hey, what the hell are you saying?
yeah.
And always, of course, if someone is saying something about someone else,
Hmm.
I always stand up for that
The
person.
real ally. That's what real allies should be doing. Yeah,
Yeah,
beautiful.
I should stand up for myself more in that kind of
Yeah,
way
likewise,
too. But
likewise.
I think it's kind of a like perseverance
And
strategy
resilience. And resilience.
to kind of like wash it away sometimes.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Because if you don't, you kind of get eaten up
Yeah,
by it. And it's
yeah,
it's about, but I think I am very lucky to be a person that know myself
yeah, that's
very
beautiful.
well.
Yeah,
Not everyone does that.
yeah,
I have had to get to know myself actually because of my mental health issues. I have had to create that relationship with myself,
and you have empathy and
and
understanding.
therefore I might have more strength
Yeah,
in this kind of way to be able to say like, okay, I know what you're saying right now is not true, because
yeah,
yeah. But
brilliant.
I feel like what we need to, we need to stand up for ourselves, for each other. And but I know that it can be hard
Yeah,
as well,
can be a
because you can
challenge.
be in situations with people who have power,
Yeah,
who you don't want to offend, you don't want to, you for some reason there can be a lot of you know, power relationships,
Very much so. Very much
especially
so.
that can affect that.
Yeah.
But I'm trying to, you know, even in those situations, speak up more. But I know that, you know, to ask someone to speak up in those situations can be hard, and I am not always going to ask people to do that if it's
Same.
a
I can't.
situation where the power relations are that severe, you know.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, you know, you're doing an amazing job of what you do, and you're still a great ally. So, you know, well
Thank
done.
you.
Keep doing that. And
I
yeah.
try my best.
And have you also ever suffered from discrimination and stigma in music and entertainment and films as well? You know,
Hmm.
does that exist a lot in Sweden?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, of course. I mean, Sweden Sweden is on paper, you know, one of the most equal countries in the world,
Yeah. Yeah.
but we still have a long way to go, and we are also, you know, as many countries in the world, we are also in a position right now where we're kind of like backsliding a bit,
Yeah.
um, because of politics.
Yeah.
Uh,
Unfortunately, I think a lot of countries did go through that. Yeah.
exactly, there's a trend of that that's been
Yeah.
going on for the past few years.
Yeah.
Um, and you know, we talk a lot about equality and representation in all the creative industries, but I feel like, you know, it's still like, for instance, when I work in film and I go out on productions or in teams, and I always see like it's mostly, you know, men hiring men
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
for
That is
jobs,
interesting. Yeah.
and when women are hired, it's usually in the more female areas,
Um,
like say
yeah.
staging or costume,
Okay.
makeup artist.
Yeah.
But when it comes to like the technical teams,
Yeah.
it's like always men hiring men.
I'm sorry to hear that.
Yeah, and that's why I in my work always try to be more of a like, hey, now we have hired two men. Now we need to find two women
Yes.
for, you
Yeah.
know, non-men. And and there's an important thing, because I know that you and I have had this discussion before, and I know the fact that we also group everyone who are not men in the same category,
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
which is a bit of a problem in
Yeah.
itself,
Yeah.
because we need to also acknowledge that, you know, there are third categories, fourth
Yeah.
categories as well,
Yes.
and because
Different.
otherwise it's like, okay, we have two men and then we get one woman and one person who is maybe non-binary,
Yeah,
like,
exactly.
okay, but you
Yeah.
still have more men.
Thank you. I'm glad you realized where we were coming from, because this conversation we had was around fairness and equity, because
Hmm.
even though we're employing other people, there's still certain groups that still get left out, which is sad. And it shouldn't be the case.
Yeah, because I think like trans and non-binary people need to have um you know, it's a bit hard with trans, because I feel like, for instance, I think of you as a woman,
Thank
uh,
you. Yeah.
and
But I'm
so
not biologically
of
woman.
course I also then put you in the woman box
Thank you. Yeah.
as
Yeah.
well.
Yeah.
But you are also a trans person.
Yes. Thank you. Yeah.
So 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 in those cases it's kind of hard, because you have um
It's tricky, isn't it?
you know, I'm not gonna just put you in the trans box and not say that you're a woman, you
Yeah.
know.
Yeah. Yeah.
But let's say for trans men, for example,
Yes.
uh, non-binary people,
Yeah.
they are not cis men and
Yes.
they are not women.
Yes.
So
Yes.
they shouldn't have to be put in the women
And then,
box.
yeah, yeah. Or the man box. They should be able to choose which box they go in and go in there. you know.
Exactly, and then it should also be, because as we have said, and it is that what happens when we put everyone in the same box is that, okay, then the opportunity for women goes away.
Yeah, yeah,
So we need to like cut it in free
exactly. We need
instead.
proportional representation, is what I've always said. It should be proportional as well, you know, to
Yeah,
match what the actual country's like. Because that makes sense to me. That makes perfect sense. Yeah,
exactly. Because I think that's I have a bit of a problem with that, like when you see different when they do surveys on for instance like festival headliners and
yeah.
stuff like that, then you have like men
And
and
women.
then everything else,
Yeah, yeah. Or it's
or
just like
you have or you
women
have
or
men,
non-binary.
women, and we don't know.
Yeah, or men, women, and non-binary.
Yeah,
Sometimes now. But then you're just like, this still is not right. You know, it's still not where it should be right now. Still not.
exactly.
We will
But
get
then
there.
then there is also like the idea of proportion
Yeah,
as well,
yeah,
because I think of course there are proportionally more cis men, proportionally more cis women
yeah,
than there are trans people
yeah,
and non-binary people.
yeah,
So it cannot always be divided in free.
yeah,
For instance, you have to think of the proportions
exactly.
as well. And I have thought of that a lot, like for instance, also regarding to the festival that I'm running,
Yeah,
uh,
fantastic.
because I do want to put trans representation there,
Yeah.
non-binary representation
Oh,
there,
well done.
but it's also we have an open call
Yeah,
that artists can apply to,
okay.
and then we do a selection from that.
Yes,
And in that case, because I do want to put that representation out, but the artist also have to have a quality.
yeah, that's to be at a certain
That,
stage. Yeah,
because I also think like for instance, putting an artist on a stage like that
yeah,
just for the representation
it's not
can
good
also be
enough.
hurtful for the artist,
Yeah,
because if the artist is not in the place they need to be,
right.
that kind of event,
Yeah,
that if it might be way too early for them in their career, they
fair
need to
enough.
work on some things first.
Yeah, yeah.
Then I feel like then I'm doing a disfavor.
I think so. I think so. But again, it's also making sure people do apply and that those communities
Yeah,
are at the same time, right? So they're aware of it. I think sometimes people are not even aware. Certain communities are not even aware it happens. You know, so just engaging them with it would be fantastic.
we're trying to really be, trying to work in a way where we can get, all kinds of representation
You'll get
in
there.
the applications,
You'll get
because
there.
that's, I mean, it's important. We always try to find new channels
Yeah. And if you need some
to reach
help,
out
give me a
to.
shout. And if you need some help with that, and I know people in the Pride Network, I can connect you with them. Not a
Thank
problem.
you.
That's a
Thank you.
pleasure. We're running out of time. We've got 3 minutes left. So if anyone wants to find you, connect with you, your conference, your network, do
Yes.
you want to share them now?
I have the Scania Sounds
Yeah,
is the name of the showcase festival.
right.
We are most active on Instagram. I am always most active on Instagram. That's the best place to find me.
Okay,
My own company, my freelance company is called Eve Creative.
fantastic.
So that's where you'll find me.
And I'll leave all the links in the description below with your bio and everything else. So that will all be in the links so everyone can check you out. Thank you so much for your time today.
Thank you. Thank you for having me, and thank you for being such an inspiration.
Oh, bless you. Thank you so much. It's been so nice to catch up. Is there any major wins or successes you want to share with us before we go? Or anything you've got coming up?
I I can't share this one because it's not on paper yet.
Okay.
There's
So
a
watch
there's
this
there
space.
are some really cool things coming up, and the festival is growing, and the festival is going to be part of some major events that
Oh,
will be happening
fantastic.
in Malmö. So it's not on paper yet, but you know, there's one very major event that is going to happen in Malmö pretty soon
Ooh.
that we are going to probably do something for. And if people knows that
I'll spread
this
the word.
event is happening, which many people do, then they might be able to guess it. But
Oh, fantastic. Well, I've got my fingers crossed. I hope it all goes well. And yeah, I'll speak again soon. Thank you so much.
thank you.
It's been my pleasure.